Hi everyone. I don't. Okay. Now it's working.
Yeah, Mauro, be prepared. Be prepared because I know you can control mechanics very well, but I'll see how good we can be with digital because digital, you never know if it works or not. So we'll see how it
Exactly.
goes.
And I'm not that good, with electronics.
Oh,
I
yeah.
prefer mechanics. Clearly, clearly.
Welcome to the family because, we use digital to spread the word and to teach about independent watchmaking and to bring it out there to all the people that love this. But of course, the digital can have its challenges on its own, of course. How do you live these times, Mauro? And then we will go to your story and then we will talk about Schwarz Etienne. But how are you living these crazy times where life is becoming more and more digitalized, but the passion for mechanics is big at the same time, if not bigger than before?
Yeah. So to me, that's just perfect. As you said before, we have the tool now to communicate much more efficiently. But love for old-fashioned watches, love for old-fashioned movement, mechanical movement, or manufacture movement is still growing worldwide. We have always more and more collectors on our team now, on the Schwarz Etienne team. They are coming, and for us, it's just tremendously good, tremendously good.
Do you think the most,
It's only 7 years we relaunched the brand with
yeah,
the concept of 100% manufacture movement, and now it's paying. It's finally paying, So it's really good. And
very good.
on one side we have the brand clearly, but also some part of the movement we use them also for private labeling, and
Yes.
so we get the visibility on both sides. So it's just beautiful, just
I
beautiful.
understand. I understand that. My history is from Richmond Group, like yourself. But I
Yeah.
left. I left Richmond when. Sorry, I joined Richmond when you left, so we didn't meet at that time. And then I moved to Girard-Perregaux. I spent 3 years there at the time when Gino Macaluso was trying to integrate the fully in-house. And he was trying to do it only with the two brands, Girard-Perregaux and Jean Richard. And that was so difficult because the investments, the persistence, and the industrial facilities that you need to sustain an in-house manufacturing are immense. Is that the reason why you need to collaborate with other brands, or there is more to that?
Yeah, clearly, because it's in terms of investment, it's huge. It's huge. We master around 65 to 70% of the added value on the movement inside out. So we choose clearly not to integrate all the know-how necessary to build and to produce the movement, but it's clearly heavy. It's heavy to sustain. So the owner, Mr. Radici, another Italian guy, who came in Switzerland around 45 years ago, is absolutely in love with the brand. So he sustained the brand. We decided together also to invest, to develop that kind of mechanical movements, manufacture movement. And I think we haven't been wrong, because now the story tells us that we are right. So we have always more customers on one side with Schwarz Etienne, and also with Schwarz Etienne collaboration with other watchmakers
Yeah.
on our movement base, clearly. And on the other side, we have the private labeling, where we have a lot of demand now. We have more than 10, 12 potential clients who are asking price offers, to develop their watches, because we develop the watch from A to Z,
Yeah.
clearly, for non-watchmakers, for non-watchmaking brands, And so it's just perfect. It's just perfect. But it was a huge risk 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when we decided to start 100% with our own movement.
Well, yeah, I mean, just to put things in perspective, historically, this will be known as the time when smartwatches outdid completely the whole of the Swiss watch industry with one model, which is the Apple Watch. So if we had known this before, we probably would have thought it would be the end of mechanical watches. But actually, as it pans out now, but it's easy to say now, things have turned out that the more demand on digital and the more demand on mechanical, because people, they're still in love with the human art rather than everything computer-based and machine-based. But yeah, 5-6 years ago, I guess you had a big doubt in your mind, didn't you?
Yeah, doubty, yes. We are always doubty because you never know what can happen on this earth. Look at what is happening now since 1 year, nobody can forecast that in one life, clearly. Now about competition, I think we are talking about two different words. I'm the son of Italian immigrant guys who came in Switzerland during the 50s, but my father became a watch collector, but also antique dealer, so I used to play with pocket watches when I was a child.
It was your summer occupation, no? As I read on your biography.
Yes. No choice to assemble movements on the kitchen table, no choice, but beautiful
There is
movements.
worse, huh? There is worse.
That's life. That's life. You have to eat. So you want to stay home, you have to work. Old-fashioned style, in terms of education. But it was great to do that. And when you see that kind of movement of the 60s, or movement of pocket watches, minute repeaters and that kind of thing, are still researched now. So people are looking for that kind of pieces till now, and we are talking about pieces of 17th, 18th century, or beginning of the 20th century also. So to me, clearly, when there is an advertising I love, it's an old advertising, the one of Patek Philippe. You will never be the owner of your watch, clearly. Why? Because a mechanical watch can go through the centuries without any problem. Just to put a bit of oil, and that's okay, to find the right watchmaker.
Can we agree that it's one of the most sustainable products out there in that respect?
Yes, I think with hard products, like paintings, that kind of things,
Yep.
So clearly, no way to fight on. I'm convinced about that. There are no way for connected watches or quartz watches to fight with manufactured watches or mechanical watches. No way. Yeah. Because the lifetime of the product is totally different.
Sorry, Mauro, can I ask you, is there any phone that is broadcasting this live next to you? Because there is a little bit of an echo. Or is that the only...
Sorry, I think this is because I'm in a big room, perhaps.
Okay, that's okay. I think it's fine. So please, if you're watching this, please let us know if you have any issues. Again, we are with Mauro Egermini from Schwarz Etienne. We are trying to go through in the next half an hour or so what is special about Schwarz Etienne, which is a name that is often underground, often not in the headlines, if you like, but that has been historically playing for over 100 years a key role in the Watch Valley, what we call the Watch Valley in Chaux-de-Fonds, where I had the pleasure to be based and live for 3 years, actually, 12 years ago. And it was a great pleasure. So, Mauro, when we say, I am very passionate, so I always say, of course, what mechanical watchmaking is an expression of human skills and human imagination. Therefore, it is art. When there is this question, is watchmaking art? It is one of the last, actually, arts of the day and age we are living. So, do we agree on that? And do we agree that also, okay, what Breguet, what John Arnold, what the great of the past did 300 years ago is still alive now and is still, still up there. Do you think what we are doing now will be remembered for centuries to come?
Sure. Clearly. So what happens between Abraham Louis Breguet and his invention of the tourbillon in 1801 and now? Not really now, until 1801 and the beginning of 2000. It was just all the watchmakers have copied what has been done in pocket watches, reduce the size, just reduce the size and improve the quality, improve the precision on each component, and improve also the functioning of the watch. Now, since 2003, 2004, you know, we have been living watchmaking UFOs, you know, like the V4 of Tageyer and other. It was the first watch with a non-watchmaking movement, clearly, because it was copied on the Maserati engine, you know.
Yeah.
So I think we have no limits. Human imagination have no limits. And I think we will be surprised even within 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, if we maintain the skill, we maintain the know-how, and we succeed in developing that, clearly.
Yeah, because British watchmaking is not a good example. For example, I was mentioning John Aldon because it became obsolete and it disappeared. And of course, Swiss watchmaking will always have that risk unless you keep innovating, you keep going forward without watching too much to the past, no? And Schwarz Etienne, I believe, does that these days.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, we have the roots of Schwarz Etienne was the movement production, clearly. Movement development and movement production. Between 1902 and the 50s, Schwarz Etienne did only movement. It's only after the 50s that the brand appeared, you know.
Yeah.
So, and to me, so my strategy is not to try to do what have already been done, you know, what has already been done. Clearly not. Clearly not. We have skills, we have know-how, we have imagination, and clearly we want to show what is nice on the movement. So we have the capability to develop and produce a movement. We have the capability to show on the top what happens when you play with the movement. And it's clearly the face of Schwarz Etienne and the life of Schwarz Etienne.
So do you recognize in 2014 that the brand was slightly invisible in a way for what the brand was actually doing and offering? And so do you find that for example, the collaborations you've been involved with have really helped to bring the name of Schwarz Etienne up there, not only as a movement manufacturer, but actually as a brand in his own right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. You know what is difficult for a manufacturer brand or an independent brand? Clearly, what is really difficult is to be visible. Because, you know, I've been working for Richemont, as you told before, but also for LVMH for 13 years before to come here. And when you see...
I was going, nobody's perfect, but I'm not going to go.
What do you want to do? You have to leave. No.
No, I know you're Italian. I know you can take a joke, so I just...
Yeah. But both were beautiful experience, you know, and if I had to redo that, I will redo exactly the same without any problem. But when you see the quantity of millions they put on the table for advertising, for marketing, we clearly have no that means. It's impossible for us to invest that much, you know, because it's more than the cost of the total manufacture, you know, for 1 year. So we have to be patient, we have to be innovative, we have to be different, and we have to move. And we have to be perhaps a little bit smarter than the one who have the money.
Do you know, agree, like yourself, I've been around for 20 years, and yeah, advertising was something 20 years ago, but now, you know, even if you had a big budget, would you do advertising? I'm not sure, because I think the educational content is what is paying off at the moment. No, it's actually talking about the thing rather than creating an artificial world on top of the product.
Yes,
do you ever feel that?
Yes, I know. But what we are doing now, it's clearly advertising also, Pietro.
Yeah.
Clearly. Yeah. So advertise is not to put only a watch on a paper and to stick it on the wall.
No, of course.
Now we have other means. And I think it's with the same amount than 20 years ago, we can do 10 times, perhaps 15 times, 20 times, we can be more visible.
Absolutely.
But we still have a big gap between brands belonging from a group, belonging at a group, and the independents, which are alone, clearly.
Yeah.
But this is, to me, this is really exciting, because when you, each time when we do fairs, we do interviews, we do a lot of things. We try to be always more visible. But when you take place on a fair, and you have someone who doesn't know the brand, first time you see, and you see the light in his eyes or in her eyes, to me, it's the most beautiful gift, you know. Wow, I've never seen that. Wow, oh, small retrograde second. It functioned like that, you know. It was clearly the goal on my side to de-dramatize the complication and to show. And when people understand that, and when you see stars in the eyes, to me, it's one.
Yeah.
To me,
And
it's
also, I mean, because you come from big groups, the problem in the big groups that we had, was that production was based on forecasts that were quite aléatoires, we would say in French. With the scope was to fill up all the retailers around the world with the same collection, the same quantities, to have a harmonious image of the brand around the world. With independent watchmakers, they don't need to do that. They don't need to produce to fill up retailers. They need to produce to excite the demand. And when the demand is there, then you produce and you make a sell. Which sounds to me, and of course we are all about that with the limited edition, like a healthier way to safeguard the value, the perception, the experience around acquiring a luxury watch.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. And you know, to make another sentence with the same word, the groups work in push flows. So they push the watches on the market. And here we work in pull flows. And
absolutely.
Often
that's
we
the
are
best
late.
Analogy, actually. Yeah.
Often we are late because we have several models now. We have no stock, so we have to reproduce them. So from time to time, the customer they have to wait. But it's because also of the size of the structure. First of all, we have not also who can say I will produce 1,000 watch, and I will sell the 1,000 watch when you are Schwarz Etienne. It's just impossible. Yeah. It's just impossible, clearly. Yeah. So we do our own forecasts because the forecasts are not coming from the market. It's impossible. We are not known enough now, clearly. So it's impossible for us to have the same logistic strategies and big brands or groups, clearly. But on one other side, you know, we are much more reactive. So the small team, small company, where you master, I would say, yes, 70% of the added value on the movement and perhaps 60% on the watch. It's easy for us to make customization, one-of-a-kind watches, to answer to any demands coming from potential clients, you know. And for us, it's also important because we are not only a watchmaker, we want to share something. We want to share an experience. And it's not, I'm not doing marketing now, clearly. It's what we feel and what we are living.
And it's what the clients are looking for, because look at the brands that are having a crazy success at the moment. We're talking about names that were not even there 5, 6, 7 years ago. And they are really giving this renewed experience to what should be acquiring a luxury watch, which should be about understanding what's behind the brand, what happens in the making, personalizing eventually. And it's changing the game in so many ways. So Mauro, I want to say thank you to those that are putting questions on the feed. We will answer the questions very, very soon. So don't be shy, keep doing that. And in the meantime, I want to ask Mauro, how, I mean, to proceed the way, to operate the way you are describing, how important it is to be independent.
There is no more value than to be independent. To me, clearly. We are totally free. we are free on our choice. We are free in our design. We are free in terms of supply, and the real independence, it's not to be taken by, you know what, by another supplier who said, I don't deliver you anymore, so you can die, because if you don't get movement, if you don't get oscillating wheel, balance wheel, or hairspring.
Yes.
Okay, so we produce our own hairspring. It's the full independency, you know. So there is no more value than that. Why? Because you decide and you do. So you don't have to follow anyone. You don't have to be, you know, in jail with any other people, you know. So I think I have answered. I think I have answered.
Absolutely, absolutely. And on that point, Mauro, in terms of independence, yes, and being part of this community that now is embracing watchmakers from all over the world. So Switzerland is still this big ecosystem where everything is possible, and also Switzerland is supporting those watchmakers that in Russia, Holland, Finland, all over the world, United States, Malaysia, exactly. In the case of Ming, of course, are trying to propose a different spin, different creativity, because it's not a taboo anymore for collectors to buy watches that are not Swiss anymore. What is the value of Swiss made today? Also, because of course there's a big debate about what Swiss made should be. What is the value of Swiss made? How do you approach yourself to that?
So, you know, to me, I prefer to speak about the value of the manufacturers and the value of the Swiss made. Swiss made, you know, also manufacturer. What means manufacturer? Manufacturer, you have a lot of companies who are saying we are manufacturer. What does it mean? Because you do assembly, you're not a manufacturer. Manufacturer, they have to produce their own movement inside house. But a real manufacturer is the one who produces the hairspring also, you know. And a lot are not doing that, clearly. So what I dislike is when we play with marketing, with this term, and you put them in the marketing field, because they don't mean what is the real
yeah, it's misleading. You find it misleading.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But now to come back to Swiss made, yes, it's important. Yes, you know, in the past I've been working with Chinese supplier for cases who were more efficient, more qualitative than Swiss. And I told in the past, to people who were really close, you know, close 200% Swiss made, I told them, okay, you know, at the same price, I will continue to work with this supplier, not the full Chinese supplier, but only one. I will continue because I'm so confident with him. 100% quality. It took all the how can I say, when it was really difficult to develop in Switzerland, some supplier told me, no, we refused. But there said, yes, we will do that. You know, yeah. Each challenge was taken. So
they supported you in the hard times.
Exactly, exactly. But on one other hand, I can understand that the roots of the watchmaking come from Switzerland. We have to protect that. Why? Because we have been losing almost 80% of the know-how during the 70s because of the quartz crisis. You know. So to me, it's important to have that kind of protection, to continue to maintain the skill inside our country. That's sure. But on one other hand, it's not because you come from Malaysia, you come from the US, that you are not competent, you know, that you don't have the competency to develop a watch. Clearly not. You have
because
people
it goes also for watchmakers. Like basically, I learned playing the guitar, you know, on YouTube, you know, with tutorials, and it didn't really matter where I was. The same with watchmaking. I think the access to information these days is much, much bigger than 20, 30 years ago, where you had to go through Switzerland to be formed. But now times are completely different. No?
Yeah, sure. But to become a watchmaker and a real watchmaker, you know, it's 5 years of school, and it's tough. It's not that easy. It's not just for casing. When you have to play with movement, you have to regulate the movement. So,
Yes.
so this is important. Now, it's clear that our field, we need to be self-protected, you know, to protect also the people who are working in Switzerland, because it's easy, you know, you have brands of each level. You have the one who are passionate, independent, normally, and the one who wants to make money. It's another story. And inside these companies, you can have also passionate people, clearly. Yeah. But I think the goal is not the same.
Yeah, there is. We often discuss, and because we have such a similar background, there is a difference between the final goal, create value for shareholders, and final goal, to be on the books of watchmaking. It's two different worlds. No?
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
That's normally what independents are there for, to leave a mark, to leave a trace, to be part of history. For the groups, of course, groups belong to public shareholdership, so they have to ensure value and growth every year. Whereas a manufacturer like you, if 1 year is very bad, you can just hold on and just survive, and look at the next year and really work on the demand that you have. And that is given by independence. That's why concretely independence is so important. Mauro, look, listen, I need to talk about the collaborations. Of course, talking about collaborations with Schwarz Etienne is not a way to go astray from Schwarz Etienne, but it's in the DNA of the brand, because for 100 years there have been collaborations with historical maison, as we would say these days. I can just remind from the past, Daniel, I think Chanel as well. You will mention some more. But this, in modern days, and there are also a couple of questions for from our viewers. The famous collaborations with Ming watches, Speak Marine, of course, with the unique piece, the Phoenix that you just launched, and Kari Voutilainen, that is absolutely delicious. The Roma Synergy is one of my and a lot of collectors' favorite pieces at the moment. So,
thank you, Pietro. Thank you. I love you when you are talking like that, you know.
No, it's the reality. I mean, it is the reality. One thing I want to ask is, so why Ming, why Kari Voutilainen? Two very different ways of approaching watchmaking. How are they equally important in the scheme of what you're trying to build with Schwarz Etienne?
So what you have to know, it's a totally different business. The collaboration with Ming, so we are supplier of Ming. So we develop all the Ming watches since around 3 years now, from A to Z. So we get design from Ming, and we order the components. We play with our movement, or outside also movement. We source the movement. And then it's a brand.
You make the watches for them.
It's clearly it's clearly a brand, and we are the supplier of watches of the brand with all our know-how, you know.
Yeah.
And they push us. What is absolutely tremendously good, it's that they push us to the limits, you know, to the limits on research of material, because it's in their DNA. So this is the first business. So this is private labeling, clearly, with la division du temps, the division of time.
Is there some other brands that we can mention here for this side of the business?
Yes, we have Chopin watches from Poland. Yeah. And you will perhaps see end of the year or next year also 2 or 3 new brands who came and joined the La Division du Temps family also. But until now, so Ming is a beautiful development, enormous development, beautiful developments, real success story. Chopin.
You feel that the success of Ming, which is absolutely crazy. We've been shortly official retailers for Ming, and then they decided that they wanted to sell everything through the website. They didn't want a retail platform. which of course I regret, but of course maybe things will change in the future. But what was the effect on Schwarz Etienne of this Ming success? Could you feel it? Could you feel the benefit?
So I can give you one example. It was 2 years ago during the Basel Fair. We had a booth, and people coming. The Ming are produced here by Schwarz Etienne. They are the producer. Come and look at what they are doing, you know. You can see similarity on the movements clearly, because we also supply our movements. Clearly, we give our movements to anyone. What is new since that year? So we opened all the source on each kind of movement. Until beginning of the year, it was only on 2 types. And now I decided to open, you know, not because I'm Pestalozzi, not because I'm the most generous guy, but because I think they have to leave. They have to leave, you know. And to me, yes, how can I say that? To me, it's important that the heart of the watch have to be seen on the market, and with all the design clearly. And you know, Schwarz Etienne will never look like a Ming, and a Ming will never look like Schwarz Etienne. It's the reason why we open the source of on our movements clearly.
You know, Mauro, we say in Italiano, stai sfondando una porta aperta.
Esatto.
You are kicking an open door, because because I always say, in this day and age, yes, we have recognized mechanical watchmaking is art, is showing human skill and human imagination, and of course the movement is the main magic happening there. So I got to the point of saying, Mauro, never trust a watch you can't see the movements of. So it gets to that point for me. So I think in that respect, we're completely in the same place. Do you think the micro rotor is your signature this time and age for collectors?
So I think, yes, we have 2 signatures on the movements, 2 signatures. The micro rotor, clearly, the position at 9, and then, or at 3 o'clock when you have it behind, clearly, and also the position of the balance wheel. After you have the shape of the bridge, but you know the bridge is, you can play with shapes, you can change it almost easily, you know.
I'm gonna show something, because Instagram doesn't give the possibility to share images anymore.
Yeah. So this is, I love that movement, decorated by Garrick.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing. Can I ask you a cheeky question, Mauro? Maybe a difficult one. I mean, I know the answer, but can we explain why, when you're going for a Ming wall-timer, that sort of movement with a micro rotor, you're looking at 10,000 more or less. When you're looking at the Garrick Voutilainen, the same movement but decorated by Garrick, or tell me if it's not exactly the same movement, in which way it is not, and we are looking at more than double the price. So what is your take on that, for people to really understand what's happening there?
Yes, absolutely, no problem. You know, it's not a margin question. Clearly, we are, I think, one of the most honest watch manufacturer worldwide, and we are known now for the quality given and the perceived quality for the level of price. Clearly, you can read article on World Tempest. They perfectly understand our strategy is to be the most fair possible in terms of price, and to give more in terms of value than what you pay. So this is the first thing. Now, so the explanation, it's not embarrassing at all. It's really easy. On the costs of one movement, you can multiply by 10 the cost only with the decoration.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So if you take a Garrick Voutilainen watch, I think entry price are between 70 to 80,000. If I
yes.
Okay. So this one is 29. It's half the price of a Garrick. Why? So the good news, it's half the price, not the triple of a Ming. It's half the price of a Garrick. And why it's half the price? Just because we decided not to go that deeper in terms of decoration than what Garrick do with his own products. Clearly, because it's really easy to, with the same watch and with something only the expert will perceive in terms of value decoration. But the more deeper you go, the more costly it will be. And we decided to stop there to reach that level of price also. It was not really on that sense, you know.
It is like making a canvas with a background and then asking Picasso to do all the finishing and the decorations on top. That's what happens in that respect.
Yeah, it's clear, but it's not because it's Carrie who did, because the real added value of Carrie was, first of all, we shared the design together, because I wanted to have the part of the DNA of Carrie in our watch, because so we are friends since many years now, and it was my wish, and the story began because of that. It's not a business story, clearly not. It was just my dream is what to put an eyes on our watch and put a bit of your DNA, and I want to see the result. Now I have seen the result, you know, and I'm so proud of that. So proud to have been able to share that. After that, in terms of decoration, clearly Carrie has a know-how and he inside house, you know, to share, to make that kind of thing. And we have been using Carrie and the Carrie teams for the dial and for the decoration of the movement. This explains clearly it's done by hand. When it's done by hand, it's not done by machine. So the costs rise, and really fast. It's really fast to.
You know that very well, because so Schwarz Etienne is famous for also mastering the industrial CNC. I would say parts of the production, as well as combining with then decoration finishing by hand. So the two things are two completely different worlds that I must say in Schwarz Etienne they come together in a way, no, in a very harmonious way.
Yeah. After you decide the level you want to put, the level of decoration, the level of industrialization. You know, I know only one brand nowadays. Surely you have watchmakers who are still doing that, but I only know one brand where they did one watch where everything was done by hand. It's Rebel Force.
Yeah.
And the cost of the watch is not 30,000. It's around 1 million or more, I think. More than 1 million. But everything has been done by hand, like old-fashioned watchmaker during the 17th century.
Yeah, or like George Daniels, obviously George Daniels in the...
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So when you are talking about machines, we need machines. We need machines to be more cost effective. Oh, the cherry dial, unique piece.
Yeah, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but
no,
just showing a few pieces.
No problem. So we need machines to be more effective in terms of quality. Petite seconde retrograde, small retrograde second, one of my favorite with opal dial. This dial is just amazingly good. And limited edition of 8 pieces. I gave your name to the watch, you know, limited edition.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But why? Why 8? Because the stone, the blue stone with green fire we have inside, we only found that, and we only can do 8 dials. It's the reason why it's limited. Oh, yeah. It's the nature who does the limit, you know.
Oh, very good. We love that. And you know, if you don't know Schwarz Etienne enough, I hope we're doing a good job today with Mauro to shed some light. And on the limited edition, we will have soon a bigger listing of Schwarz Etienne's collection. But for now, of course, Schwarz Etienne's website is updated with this all the latest launches. And yeah, Mauro, now I can't believe it's been 45 years. We are behaving like proper Italians. We're chatting away, and the time is flying. I want to give some space to the questions that we're having. Baudouin, our friend from Tourbillon Watch, from Paris. C'est génial de te voir, Baudouin. C'est toujours un plaisir. Mauro,
salut, Baudouin.
Would you put your logo on your balance wheel just for fun? Baudouin is asking.
my logo. So it's already been done, you know, and very difficult to master. So there is a SE on the balance wheel. Yes, we have watches with the logo. Now we are working on other type of balance wheel, much more watchmaker types, and beautiful. The one you have on the Claret Voutilainen, it's one brand new balance wheel we designed inside house, and I love that. I love that.
Very good. Very good. Next question. We have already answered, but maybe we can make it fun, Mauro. Do you think smartwatches will completely replace quartz and mechanical watches? Do you think that microwaves will ever replace a pizza oven? I don't think so.
Yes, absolutely. Tomorrow morning. No, I prefer pizza with fuoco a legna. No, absolutely not. No, sure not. But they are useful, you know. It's and you know what is a little bit embarrassing, that I have friends now who are watch lovers. They are wearing two watches. Yeah. One for the beat of the heart, because they are a bit ill, you know, and one for the pleasure. Okay, we have two wrists. I would prefer to put the smartwatch on the foot instead of on the other wrist, but not easy.
But it's true. It's actually the only thing that they have in common is that you put them on the wrist, but it's two different things. The smartwatch is not something that gives you the time in a mechanical way. It has nothing to do with that. So it's like that we both put them on the wrist, but you know, one is a t-shirt, the other one is a leather jacket. I don't know how to put it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Next question. So Baudouin is also asking, you're also Chopin watches supplier. I didn't know that either, so it's interesting. So you started collaborations recently. This is from the Eclecticum. With Claret Voutilainen and Peter Tomajer, what are your lessons learned? Did you assess new clients, and were there any critical experience? If you can keep this short so we can move to some other questions as well.
Okay, now, what is beautiful in this field, in this world of the watchmaking industry, is you know people who are delicious. So this is the first thing. Garrick, it's a delicious guy. We have been spending an evening and nights together, laughing, drinking, playing. With Peter, exactly the same thing, you know, Peter Tomajer. First time I met him, I just wanted to kill him, you know, because he was so disappointing, you know. And the second time I fall in love with that guy also, you know. So yes, I learned a lot. I learned a lot because they are real watchmaker. I'm not a real watchmaker, even if I assemble movement on the kitchen table. My studies were not on the watchmaking clearly, but I fall down when I was a child. It's a reason why I mix and match. So yes, I learned a lot. And what I loved also in the past, when I was working at Richemont, I was in a logistic position. When I went to suppliers to visit them, to understand all the difficulties to produce one component on each. You know, for example, on the dial, you go to a dial supplier, there are minimum 10 skills to produce a dial, a simple dial, and 100 operation. If you have 1% of defect on each operation, it means 100% defect at the end. Yeah. And so it's just amazingly enormous when you know all the skills, all the people, and all the means you need to produce a complete watch. And
sorry, Mauro, but on the point you were making, there is an amazing sense of community in independent watchmaking. It's like living an artistic movement that is developing, which within big groups, like I was involved, actually it was competition with the different brands within the same group. Yeah. With independent watchmaking, nobody has anything to do with each other's finances, but there is a solidarity, there is an empathy that actually gains the respect of the clients at the end, because I can tell you, as the limited edition, the quality of the clients that we have, the intelligence, the understanding of the product is amazing. Sometimes I can't believe it. And it's the result, I think, of this approach that independent watchmakers have of being transparent, being sharing, and also being very serious about the mission that they have.
Yeah. And you know, our philosophy and what I feel also with, I think 80% of the independent I know, if we can share, if we can help ourselves, we will do that without any problem, you know. First, when we are on the market, we spend evening together. Why? We are not competitors. We are the same family. Clearly, we are the same family. And this become naturally. After you have always 2 or 3 balls break.
But also, it's very logical because the collectors worldwide, okay, some will completely fall for one brand and they will be very loyal, you know, raising the flag for that particular name. They will only buy that name. But the big majority of our collectors, obviously, they appreciate stuff from you, creations from another watchmaker, from another brand, from this and from that. So actually sustaining each other brings everybody's reputation higher. So
yeah,
it's very interesting. Sorry, Mauro, another question from Daddy Huggy 1. Do you have any other collaboration with Claret planned, maybe on the Power Reserve, GMT?
Aha, good question, but I won't answer to any question. So we have to any question of the future. So we have under the arms, we forecast to have other collaboration clearly. But I won't say with who it will be because it will be a surprise. It will be a new launch, not that year, surely next year, because it's not good to make one collaboration each year. But I think I have contacts and friends to do that for the next 10 years without any problem. You know, so sure. Now you know, it will be, to me, it won't be good, you know, to make another collaboration just right now with Claret. Not because I don't love him, because I love him clearly deeply, but we are not associated. You know, it's the brand is not SE Claret or Voutilainen SE. You know, it's not that. So it's one shot. It's an enormous pleasure. What we can do is, okay, we can play with one-of-a-kind pieces, micro edition. If, as I told at the beginning, if someone is interested to have another color, and perhaps it could be a good thing, perhaps we can work also on a GMT or on the one-of-a-kind watch. Clearly, this could be done. But I don't want to relaunch a series because after it's not serious anymore, you know. So we are talking about 2 limited edition of 15 pieces, and I think I will accept until maximum 10 one of a kind, and then it will be done.
Yeah, very good, very good. Listen, Mauro, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time, and I think we can do this easily in Italian and in French as well in the future to make everybody happy as well, for those that are not anglophone.
Quand tu veux, quando vuoi. Wie du willst.
Well, I can't help you with that. I have a German son.
No, German, no, I'm joking. Yeah. Only 3 words, you know.
So thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your inspiring experience. Thank you for being with the limited edition. You know, we are passionate about independent watchmaking, and we believe it's the future of watchmaking, if watchmaking is here to stay as an art, as a form of art, which we are absolutely convinced. So one last question from a guy that I think you may know, Remontoir 68 from the UK.
Just a little bit.
Our friend Stephen does a great job in the UK. And actually, I found out about the brand thanks to Stephen at the Watchmakers Club event 2 years ago, and it was a great pleasure. Question from Stephen: what inspired the Roswell range?
I'm fanatic of science fiction.
Of mystery.
Of mystery. I'm in love with Fox Mulder and Dana Scully. It was my generation, you know. UFOs. UFOs.
So many summer nights waiting for X-Files to go on.
Yes, oh my God. And you know, it's funny because end of last year, during the confinement, I think I had registered 100 episode, and I've been looking, I think 70%. and it was still fresh, you know, still fresh.
Yeah.
So it's good. No, what inspired Roswell clearly is the shape of the case. It looked like a UFO. The box, the gift box. I designed the UFO, which is a gift box in stainless steel, because I want to be. We need to be different, you know. And the difference not only of the product, but also in the environment. And you know, I'm wearing. Hey, I'm wearing. This is my baby. The 08 with a date at 2 o'clock, at one and a half, and yes, inspiration of the size, the shape of the case is a UFO. But after that, when you wear the brief for the designer was, I want something recognizable from the side. Not from the top, because from the top we can play with our movements, and we have been playing with that, so it's still recognizable. And from the sides, it's something really different. You don't find the 90% of the people or 95% of the people who look deeply into the Roswell fall in love with it. So I'm really happy for that. And it's difficult. Sorry, it's difficult when you create something to know at the advance that it will be a success or not, really. But in terms of design, it's a success, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, but then nothing ventured, nothing gained, especially in independent watchmaking. We already said, if you're not brave and try to go forward with something new, there's no easy path. Mauro, do you think that, you know, in thousands, millions of years, I don't know how many, when humankind won't be here anymore, and somebody else will study our civilization, and they will see that we were those funny people that were producing high precision smart watches to tell the time, and still on the side they were spending much more money to make mechanical watches. They will see us as UFOs in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it. Thank you, Mauro. Grazie mille.
Thank you. Yeah, grazie a te, Pietro.
1 hour is not enough, so I'm sure we will have much more. This is the start of a collaboration between Schwarz Etienne and the limited edition, and we look forward to get so much more in the future.
Look forward for getting 2 on my side. It's a pleasure.
Thanks
and Pietro, next time you come in Chaux-de-Fonds, I kill you if you don't come in Schwarz Etienne.
Oh yeah, I will
Okay.
come 100%. I have a big toe, and I can play tennis as well, Mauro.
Beautiful.
Let me know. Brilliant. Thank you.
And the invitation, it's open to any kind of people. Also, the one who are looking at us now, clearly, take a rendezvous. We open all the doors, clearly.
Yes.
Without
and
any
that's
problem.
Something we offer to the limited edition collectors as well, and we have done in the past. We went to Parmigiani, we went to HYT, we went to Bovet. So it's things that I think really help very much, and it will be a pleasure when the world is back to some kind of normality. Let's put it like that.
Yes. Cross the fingers.
Thank you, Mauro.
Thank you, Pietro.
Ciao, grazie.
Ciao, a presto.
Bye,
Bye everyone. Bye. Thanks.